My dear friends, today I will be discussing about Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Now, what is Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome? It is a syndrome caused because of meningococcal infection. It is most commonly caused by meningococcal infection, which affects the adrenal gland present on the top of our kidney. And because of this infection, there is bleeding into the adrenal gland, leading to the inflammation of the adrenal gland, and finally it leads to adrenal failure. And because of adrenal failure, there is lack of secretion of mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, and which ultimately leads to the defect in the water reabsorption and sodium reabsorption. And that's why ultimately the patient suffers from adrenal insufficiency or adrenal failure, leading to low blood pressure, and gradually the sign symptoms of shock will be there. So Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, it is also known as hemorrhagic adrenalitis. Hemorrhagic because there is hemorrhage or hemorrhagic transformation of the adrenal gland, and adrenalitis means inflammation of adrenal gland. Now, what is adrenal gland? Adrenal gland is present on the tip of both the kidneys. On the top of each kidney, on the upper pole of each kidney, there is a gland. We call it suprarenal gland because it is present on the top of kidney. Or this adrenal gland is also known as suprarenal gland. Now, this gland, it has, if you take a cross section, it consists of three layers: cortex and medulla. Two layers mainly, outer cortex and inner medulla. The cortex are of three layers: zona glomerulosa, zona reticularis, zona fasciculata. And these three layers secrete, the upper two layers secrete glucocorticoid and mineralocorticoid that plays important role in sodium and water retention and responsible for maintenance of our blood pressure and electrolyte balance. And the inner cells secrete sex steroids that plays important role in reproductive function of human body. And the adrenal medulla, it is composed of some cells which is responsible for secretion of neuroendocrine secretions. We call it catecholamines like epinephrine, norepinephrine, dopamine, etc. Now, in case of Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, because of meningococcal infection, which is mainly caused by Neisseria meningitidis, it is a bacteria which is responsible for causing meningitis or inflammation of brain in human beings. And because of the inflammation of the brain, sign symptoms of meningitis may occur. So patient may complain of headache or fever, etc. because meningitis or because of meningitis, and if it is not treated, it may leads to systemic infection, or which is called bacteremia, and we call it meningococcal septicemia or meningococcemia. So when there is meningococcemia or spread of meningococcal infection throughout the body, it may cause direct damage to the adrenal gland, also known as suprarenal gland, present on the top of each kidney, and it may cause bleeding into the adrenal gland, leading to its swelling and gradual destruction of the cortex of the adrenal gland. And because of the adrenal destruction, there is decreased secretion of mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, or the steroids. And because of lack of steroids, there is less amount of water and sodium reabsorption, and finally the patient may go into a stage of low blood pressure and finally into a stage of shock. So what is this Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome? It is also known as hemorrhagic adrenalitis because there is hemorrhage of the adrenal gland, and finally there is inflammation of adrenal gland leading to adrenal gland failure. And because of that, there is a shock, and patient, even multi-organ failure may also occur if we don't treat the shock or treat the bacteremia or meningococcemia with proper antibiotic and proper therapeutic intervention. Now, here what is happening is that this bacteria, that is meningococcal meningitis, these Neisseria meningitis, it may cause meningitis, swelling of the outer covering of brain, also known as meninges. At the same time, if it is not prevented with proper antibiotics, or if it is not handled with therapeutic intervention, it can spread throughout the body and ultimately leads to bacteremia, which can affect the adrenal gland and ultimately leads to adrenal destruction, leading to low blood pressure, which may affect various organs of the body, leading to organ failure. Even multi-organ failure may also occur, followed by shock, then low blood pressure. It also stimulates disseminated intravascular coagulation and stimulate intravascular coagulation in various parts of the circulatory system, and it leads to adrenal insufficiency, and even it may lead to death if it is not treated with proper time and therapeutic intervention. So that is the rough idea or concept of Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. So it is seen in mostly meningococcal meningitis or Neisseria meningitis infection, but other many infections also leads to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. It is also called hemorrhagic adrenalitis, which leads to adrenal failure and adrenal insufficiency, and finally the patient goes into a stage of shock because of low blood pressure and even may go into a stage of death. So that is Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Now, what are the sign symptoms? The since it is a syndrome which occurred after or following an infection, especially Neisseria meningitis infection, so fever will be there. So patient may present with fever and headache because meningitis may be associated. So patient may present with headache, then fever, then nausea, vomiting, rigors, chills and rigors, high fever may be associated, then followed by low blood pressure, and sign symptoms of shock may be there. Besides, cyanosis can also be there in some cases. Patient may complain of cyanosis, and various sign symptoms of shock may be there. So low blood pressure is another important sign symptoms. Besides low urine output or not passing urine for long time, these are the various clinical features or sign symptoms that patient may present. So high fever with chills and rigors, then headache, then followed by low blood pressure and various sign symptoms of shock. All this goes forward towards the diagnosis of Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome or meningococcal meningitis, which ultimately affecting the adrenal gland, leading to adrenal insufficiency or adrenal glandular failure. Now, what we will see in blood picture? In blood picture, we can see that blood sugar level is very much less, then sodium concentration is less, then blood pressure is less, then potassium concentration is more. ACTH stimulation test. ACTH stimulation test is a type of test which tests the secretory function or endocrine function of adrenal gland. Now here in ACTH, ACTH means adrenocorticotropic hormone, which is a tropic hormone produced by pituitary gland which acts on the adrenal gland to stimulate adrenal corticotropic hormone secretion. Means the hormone which are produced from the adrenal cortex are secreted or are stimulated by with the activity of ACTH. But if there is adrenal failure, then ACTH cannot stimulate the production of hormones by adrenal gland, that is adrenal cortex. So ACTH stimulation test shows that there is adrenal insufficiency or adrenal failure. Besides, there may be increase in C-reactive protein because there is a systemic inflammation going on, and because of that C-reactive protein may be very much high. Besides, there may be leukopenia. Leukopenia means decrease in the WBC count. Sometimes leukocytosis may be there, but if there is leukocytopenia, it indicates poor prognosis. Besides, platelet count, prothrombin time, partial thromboplastin time, all these factor or time may decrease. Platelet count may decrease, prothrombin time may increase, and partial thromboplastin time will increase. So these are the various blood pictures or various parameters which will change in Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Next comes the causes of or various etiological factors that may lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. So number one is infection of Neisseria meningitis. Neisseria meningitis is an infection or a bacteria, capsulated bacteria, which can be damaged by spleen. Because capsulated bacteria like Streptococcus pneumoniae, Neisseria meningitis, they can be damaged or by the monocyte macrophage system of the spleen. But if there is infection or there is splenic dysfunction, then the chance of infection by the Neisseria meningitis is increased. So Neisseria meningitis is the most common organism or bacteria that may lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Besides, Pseudomonas aeruginosa can also lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Another infection like Streptococcus pneumoniae is a capsulated bacteria that are normally damaged by the monocyte macrophage system of the spleen, can also lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome or adrenal insufficiency. Beside Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which leads to tuberculosis in human beings, can also lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Mycobacterium tuberculosis can also lead to adrenal insufficiency. It also leads to adrenal failure, Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, and another important thing is that it can cause adrenal calcification. Besides, Staphylococcus aureus is very much common among pediatric age group, and in pediatric age group it may lead to adrenal insufficiency and may lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. So Staphylococcus aureus can cause Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome in case of pediatric population or in children. Besides Haemophilus influenzae, it may also leads to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. There are few viruses which may also lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome as well as adrenal insufficiency or adrenal failure, and those are cytomegalovirus and Ebola virus. Cytomegalovirus can cause Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome or adrenal insufficiency in immunocompromised patients. Cytomegalovirus actually it can lead to retinitis in AIDS patient or HIV infected patient. At the same time, the cytomegalovirus can also lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome in immunocompromised patients. Now, how to diagnose? Blood culture, when the patient present with this infection, sign symptom of infection, that is high fever, headache, and followed by low blood pressure and sign symptoms of shock, we must not forget about Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome or meningococcal meningitis. So we have to, when we see the clinical features of adrenal insufficiency and blood culture shows organism like meningococcus or Neisseria meningitis, then we can go for diagnosis of Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Lumbar puncture can also be done to see the CSF, and we can do culture of the CSF to see the bacteria in it. Beside complete blood count as well as ACTH stimulation test can be done. Complete blood count, here we can see the leukocytosis or leukocytopenia and platelet count. The platelet count may also decrease, which may prove that there may be increased risk of DIC or disseminated intravascular coagulation. Beside, ACTH stimulation test is very important. ACTH stimulation test also shows the normal function of adrenal gland, but in case of Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, ACTH stimulation test will show adrenal failure or adrenal glandular hyposecretion or adrenal insufficiency. Now, how to prevent this Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, which can be life-threatening also? Now, proper vaccination against meningococcus or Neisseria meningitis is very much important, especially for 11 to 18 years of age. That is for children or boys or people of age group 11 to 18 years, and especially for those people who are suffering from any splenic disorders, who has undergone splenomegaly or splenic infarction or splenectomy, they must be given this vaccination against Neisseria meningococcus or Neisseria meningitis. Besides, for those who are suffering from complement deficiency or sickle cell anemia, for them also we can go for vaccination against meningococcus bacteria or Neisseria meningitis. Now, how to treat? Now, Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome, since it is associated with adrenal insufficiency, which may lead to shock, it is a medical emergency. So here, to prevent the shock, we have to apply or we have to provide vasopressors to increase the vasoconstriction and so as to increase the blood pressure, which because blood pressure starts falling because of adrenal failure or lack of adrenal glandular secretion, that is lack of mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid, blood pressure starts falling and it may be very low, and that's why we have to give IV vasopressors which increase the blood pressure so as to prevent the multi-organ damage and even kidney failure. Besides, you have to provide fluid resuscitation so as to keep the blood pressure normal and so as to perfuse all the organs of the body through blood flow or through blood supply. Besides, antibiotic is must be given so as to prevent the bacteremia or so as to prevent the infection from causing further damage. So one of the important antibiotic is benzyl penicillin or penicillin group of antibiotic. They are very effective against Neisseria meningitidis. Besides, sometimes IV ceftriaxone are also given so as to prevent the bacteremia as well as prevent the further spread of the disease. And it has been seen that sometimes benzyl penicillin along with chloramphenicol can be sensitive to this bacteria. Hydrocortisone or a type of steroid is also prescribed to prevent the adrenal insufficiency or adrenal failure, which also prevents the fall of blood pressure and septicemia as well as the shock also. So these are the treatment strategy for or therapeutic measure for management of Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. So proper antibiotic is very much important so as to kill the bacteria or so as to eradicate the bacteria from the or prevent the bacteremia to cause septicemic shock, and that's why proper antibiotic like benzyl penicillin must be prescribed and must be given. Sometimes IV ceftriaxone can also be given so as to prevent the infection from spreading throughout the body. And for prevention of shock because of adrenal insufficiency, we can use vasopressors, IV fluids to resuscitate the patient to prevent the shock and to prevent multi-organ failure. And at the same time, hydrocortisone can be used in some cases so as to prevent the or treat the shock as well as it can prevent the adrenal insufficiency and other conditions that can lead to the death of the patients. So hydrocortisone can also be given in IV form so as to save the life of the patient in some cases. So to summarize, Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome is a medical emergency which is because of meningococcal meningitis infection or because of infection of Neisseria meningitidis, which leads to adrenal gland dysfunction or destruction as well as bleeding into the adrenal gland leading to adrenal failure. And because of adrenal failure or adrenal insufficiency, the mineralocorticoid function is affected. That's why there is low or less absorption of sodium and water leading to hypotension and ultimately fall in blood pressure, and which ultimately leads to shock. So that is the most, and which ultimately can lead to death. So meningococcal meningitis, and even not only meningitis, beside Neisseria infection, there can be Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus, Pseudomonas, cytomegalovirus infections can also lead to Waterhouse-Friderichsen syndrome. Thank you very much.